try that. Alright, let's get moving. Let's see if it actually picks up. I doubt it. I doubt it. We'll upload it later. Regardless. No, we better pause this. We can't have somebody else's audio running. Alright, two things jumping right in. We have a clone going, and also we have got a broken screen to deal with. So for right now, let's move this out of the way as we're going to work on the broken screen as the clone is happening on the other computer. Here is the second body. It's an MSI I forget what this thing is. MS-16J9 Gaming Laptop. We'll get to that in a moment. We're gonna check the progress over here on our clone. Give me a moment and we will find out what you are. What are you? .500 Seagate. And a 512. All right. Really? Okay. Let's flip this over finally. Which one would this be? That one? Okay. And here we are. We've got our OneDrive. I'm going to go ahead and open up Acronis. It usually will start up on this page. This is what you'll be greeted with. You can just simply click on the tools and utilities and click there. It's going to analyze the disks in your system. Automatic. If you want to do manual and choose your partition sizes, you can. I generally SPCC. So that is our source drive. We may need to add this other drive if it. Alright, and it actually did. So on the source, let's go back. We'll go back one step. On the source here, this is our drive that we actually want. This is the one that popped up here, and it mounts usually the system in the other partition, and then you're going to pick your destination where you're sending it. Real simple if you've never cloned anything. That's it. Now, you don't want to select this if you're using it as a boot drive. Now, if it's just a data drive, you could select this. But we want that. We want this thing to actually boot. So we're going to let it go. We're going to hit proceed and let that go for a few moments. And let me see. So we can keep an eye on that. I think we'll drag that down so we can watch that as we work. And we will let me find this one. So we'll keep an eye on the cloning procedure there. Alright, that's the right way. And here is our laptop. First and foremost, we're going to see if we have to do a full teardown on this, or can we get this bezel off without tearing it apart. I don't know, so let's take a look. Let's see if we can get in there and open this thing up without having to actually before. Yeah, okay. Looks like we actually have to do something with this, so we're gonna buzz through it. with as much time as possible. 11 minutes allegedly remaining on our clone. We're going to try and set these out so they don't move. And actually pull this apart because we don't want to start disconnecting stuff with the battery. That's my mistake in thinking that it had a removable battery. It doesn't. Can we throw any of that up there? Let's add. That would be a browser source. Yeah, why not? We'll add those. Just for the heck of it. We'll pop it in down here and let it bounce. There we go. Okay. I don't want to start getting those all over every screen, but it's a neat little animation. Such a shame YouTube doesn't ever connect anymore. It has to be something I'm doing on my end, not using the new control room. Funny enough though, Restream always seems to think that I'm sending the data to YouTube even though I'm not. Sometimes it does. We're definitely uploading something. Sending, sending, sending. And what are you watching? How do we go to our channel? Let's go to dashboard. Yeah, I'm glad this is actually recording because it's not going out one bit to the YouTubes. Oh well, we'll upload the video tonight. That'll give us something to do. I'm definitely going to look around online and try and find a way. Like, I can't imagine that I'm the only person having this problem. Even when I go to the live control room or the YouTube Studio Beta, whatever they want to call it, I've selected the settings multiple times and saved it for the COPPA, Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. Is that what it is? Children's Online Privacy Protection Act? Yes. I have saved those settings more times than I care to count, and it still just does not send it out. 4 minutes remaining on yours there, and I'm watching the progress here. I have it up on my screen, and I'll pop it back in there for you. So, where'd that come? That's all right. We do that around here. We don't make as many calls as we get. Almost.
Too old for this freaking traps and stuff. I'm about ready to take a nap.
For the what?
About ready to take a nap.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I'm just starting the day. I go to the day job at night here in a little while. Boy, there's a lot of screws on that side. And I don't know if there's one here in the center. We'll take a look at that. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6, 5, 2, 2. I don't think there's anything there, but there is one under this missing factory seal. Now, oh boy, you never like it when you hear something like that. Stuff starts cracking. And again, this is an MSI MS-16J9, so I think it has a GTX 1050 Ti graphics card in it, if I'm not mistaken, and then whatever, probably an i7 processor, i5. We'll get the specs whenever we get it booted up. Did we missed something in this area? No. I wonder, are there screws under the feet? Let's take a quick look there, just to verify that we're not about to pull plastic apart. No, nothing under the feet, so that's good news. Always a mystery why manufacturers would go and do that to a computer. Also, like, I don't know what the thinking is there. Why are you going to want to undo adhesive that is just a nightmare to have it go back in place? To get a couple screws out. Never made sense, but when do people do things that make sense? We're going to check across the bottom of this thing just to make sure there's no more. I'm not seeing any. Do we dare check under the other feet? Because it doesn't want to come apart easily. Let's get something a little thicker, just something that doesn't flex as much. Okay, so it is coming apart. However, that was part of our issue. It wanted to come up off, not the motherboard come out of it. So there we go. Access to the internals. This is where, wow, what a way to do an internal battery. So this is a good time to show everybody what is going on with laptop batteries. I'm sure there's tons of videos out there. However, you can really see, generally you'll see a hard shell, such as that. And what you never usually see is that. Granted, these aren't the same thing, but these are. I mean, they are the same thing, but they're meant for different purposes. Here are some cells out of a laptop battery. Coincidentally, if you are into vaping, some of those batteries are the same, only they don't have, you can buy them for like laser pointers and flashlights where they have the knob on the end. Or if you're very careful, you can solder the little knob on the end of it. But yeah, basically you got, you know, electronic vaping like mods, 18650 batteries in your laptop cells. So first time I've seen that method employed internally on a computer. Okay, and let's pop this down for the time being. Give me control. It seems that our clone did successfully complete, so we will go ahead, do that, close it, close this, close that, yeah, pull that, pull out our solid state, and we will put this gentleman's laptop back together for him just in time. As we pulled the MSI apart, we will set it there. And let's go for 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we got to take a look and see which way this thing goes in. I'm pretty sure it's like that. Slides out. Indeed, which will mean we want it, I think, like that. And that is it. Alright, we're going to go ahead and put these few screws in. Actually, you can't see a thing. Ha! Alright, so we have our few screws, we have our solid state drive, we have the bracket. Always check your orientation of your drive to your hard drive caddy or sled, whatever it's mounting into. Some laptops, especially like the real thin and light, like basically kind of like a Chromebook, but running Windows, like the thin and light, like the HP Streams and that. Some of them, either A, the hard drive is non-existent because it's a NAND chip on the motherboard, or B, they'll just slap a spinny drive in some of them, and it's literally just in there on a couple pieces of foam and not mounted down. But it'll be in there in a kind of a tight pocket, like gripped well by the foam. So let's go ahead. Alright, this is the last one. And I believe that makes us ready to go. Alright, well, we know that isn't coming out. That's a super tight fit. How that fits in there. So what else? How many came out of this? 2, 3, and 4. These don't all remind me of the same thing. Perhaps. Alright, putting the door back on the bottom. 4 and 4. Not that you'd ever need it for your laptop, but you are running just 2 4-gig sticks in there. With the hardware as new as it is, if you ever wanted to, or say you keep it for a good many years, you could upgrade to 8-gig sticks in the laptop. But you're not going to need it for anything you do, but the possibility is there to do it. It would run it without a doubt.
Yeah.
But that's, like I said, that's nothing you should ever need. But some people like to just max out the specs of their computer and know that there's nothing more they could do to it. I'm one of them weirdos. That
I
if,
think I added some in there.
yeah, you threw a secondary stick in to go from 4 to 8, and that, like I said, that's plenty for everything you do. You'll be good to go.
Yeah, I don't do no gaming or nothing like that.
All right, let's go ahead. Oh yeah, that sticker, I forgot about that. That made the battery slot in just a little different. Go ahead, give it a boot up, make sure everything is functioning for this gentleman. Let it start up, and then we'll reboot it, shut it down, and get it on its way. So here's a good comparison for somebody that, I don't know if you've seen, some laptops don't even have a fan or a cooler in, and then you have one that has gaming hardware in it, and what it takes to keep it cold. And imagine having a laptop that has no fan at all. Heat and dust are the two main enemies of computers.
Yeah.
So look at that! Look at all the copper pulling the heat away for these fans to push out. It needs it to do what it does, and this is actually meant for playing games. You know, compared to most laptops have one fan, if any, nowadays.
Yeah, my desktop, you had to put the new fans in that.
Correct.
Had no problem since then.
Well, that's good.
Of course, I never use it either.
Well, yeah, you can't have problems on something you don't use, I guess. I mean, that's some news, but did you boot already, or did you not boot? Let's press that button there. How are you even in there? I see, I see. Is that a whole separate board? Evidently that's stuck down with some type of rubber, something or other. Alright, Alt F for it. And shut it down. And give it another start up. Make sure this is working. We'll send one person on their way. The hinges, funny enough, I don't want to say they're buried under the fan, because they're not, but the heatsink actually is blocking some of the screws. I could probably wedge it, but I don't want to start prying and bend copper. So suffice to say, we got to pull this collection of copper. Just what we didn't want to have to do. There you are. Found you. Alright, Alt F4. Shut this down. And I'm gonna mute the mic for a second. Alright, finally unmuted the mic. We're back. We have fans. We have heat sinks. But I don't think this thing is... Yeah. It doesn't want to release quite yet. So we're probably going to finish this one later today. There are quite a few... What is that? Display cable. That's what we want out of the way. And we have Wi-Fi wires. This is 2 for the fan. It may come off if we actually remove all these screws. We'll pull these few out and see what that gets us. And I think for now, what do I do? Pull the wires or pull the card? We'll just pull our M2 Wi-Fi card. Put this back in. So we pulled the screws out for the fan. This may come off this time. Let's see. It feels like it's firmly attached though. All those silicone pads and the thermal paste. Now we have access. Look at all that. So we have that. We have a few there. We're going to have to reorganize that to cover as best we can. A lot of cooling that goes on inside one of these. The thermal paste is not completely dry, so that's also a good thing. Look at the amount of copper that came out of the bottom of this one, Dave.
What?
Yeah, you got to keep these ones cool, man. They do some stuff. They crunch some numbers occasionally here and there, I've heard. And at this point, we have access to the screws. I forget what that goes to. So we'll keep it there by itself. At this point, we can pull the display off and attempt to start cracking the bezel off from the display. Be good. Oh wow, okay, so this guy here, he's got, let's take a look at what we got going on. So it seems as though we have an M.2 drive here with, are you kidding me? So he does an M.2 boot drive, it would seem. Let's see what type of configuration they actually have it set up in. Wow. And they have it actually sealed down with silicone pads. That's why it's not coming up at all. There it goes. Okay. So we have a big fat silicone pad there and one holding the actual drive to this here. And what are we working with? 128 gig? 1802 boom. Samsung. So possibly just a regular Samsung. It may be an NVMe drive. I do not know. There you have it. Let's put that back. So probably booting off of this and games installed to the normal conventional spinny hard drive. Let's put that there. Reattach it. So again, a bit of a difference when you compare this computer here to your average laptop, which let me see what we have in the general vicinity. Okay. If you even get cooling on one of those. Do we have anything right here handy ready? Go. Okay, granted it has no fan, but you can see we've got a laptop with CPU, and then we have an actual heatsink for a laptop minus the fan. The fan's not here. Compare that to that. Which one? I mean, granted, this is going to be a lot noisier, but your computer's going to do a lot more. If you got to keep it this cool in there, it's either the most poorly designed computer ever, which I doubt it with today's technology, or it's pushing out some serious power to get done what it's doing. All right. All right, we're going to disconnect the laptop at this point from the screen. So we have our Wi-Fi card, wires, display cable, and then the rest just literally got to pop it apart and replace the panel, which we do not have time for today. We will be back tonight to finish this. As far as I know, there's no big hurry on it, but just because there's no hurry doesn't mean we're not going to do nothing. The other thing I did when I was looking around, I found a few people selling screens for these super cheap. But just because the screen would work in it meant nothing. It was literally 1366 by 768 screen, and that's, you don't want a screen like that when you're playing games. You're gonna want your high resolution 1080 display, or whatever. If it's a 1440, I believe it's a 1080 in these, I think is what. Let's see if we can finish this part out, which will give us a good jump off point later. Going around these, some of these bezels are near impossible to get off without cracking stuff apart, breaking it. Other ones you can just work your way around with a thin spudger or pry tool, and you can feel a bind point where it starts closing in around your tool, and that's where you just give a little nudge and it should pop apart. Usually. Not always, but usually. Alright, so the bottom one came off very easy. Easier than the rest of it. The only place we're having an actual problem is right around this, where the hinge goes. It's the only spot that was actually tight, at least on this whole bezel. We do have some adhesive across the bottom, and that's generally, they stick that there to keep dust and whatnot, debris from falling down in. Let's fold this one up and open this the same way, and that should be where we begin later. Alright. What do they have this thing connected to? Oh. So they did it like that. Like I said, some super strong adhesive. We will probably get the glue gun out, tear that off, and start with a new piece on the new screen. It actually lifted up our tape on this display, so luckily this is the broken one. That's a good start off point for today. So we did the clone. You actually got to see Acronis where we didn't have to run it on the actual streaming computer. We got that done. If this is your thing and you're into this stuff, you understand it, you like tinkering, fixing, give somebody a hand if you know somebody that needs it done. You know, if you like it. If you like this, somebody may find it useful, like it, share it, get it out there. I will be back tonight to finish the repair on this display. We have the new screen in, so I will see you then. Have a good rest of your evening, morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are, and thank you, as always, for watching. We're out. Alright, another day down. It's Friday. We're getting out of here. We're getting out. Let me out. I can leave now, right? Don't beat me. Oh, don't beat me. Oh my God.